When I entered the room, the alien girl gasped, "Mother, it's him, it's him." He stared out the window at the strange, shimmering towers that rose from the alien landscape. They were unlike anything humans had seen before. The walls seemed alive, flowing with light that shifted color every few seconds. He felt a strange mix of awe and caution. The stories about this place were frightening. Most humans said no one returned once they entered the sanctuary. Still, Lucas had a duty. He was not a soldier this time, but an envoy sent to meet the leaders of a species humans barely understood. The shuttle landed softly and the doors opened. He stepped onto the smooth surface of the landing platform. The air was different here. It smelled faintly of metal and flowers at the same time. A soft hum resonated under his feet, as if the planet itself was alive. A line of aliens waited. They were tall and thin, with translucent skin and eyes that seemed too large for their faces. Lucas felt a twinge of nervousness. He had seen alien life before, but never this close. Their presence was quiet but imposing. A voice called from the group, melodic but firm. "Lucas Carter." The voice made him turn. A woman stepped forward, her robes flowing like water. She was older, her face lined with wisdom and authority. "I am Elder Naira," she said. "You are far from your world, human," Lucas nodded. "I am here to talk. I bring no weapons. I only seek understanding." He kept his hands visible, trying to show he was peaceful. The aliens seemed to consider him for a long moment. Then he heard it, a small gasp. It came from a girl behind the line of adults. Lucas had not noticed her at first. She was tiny compared to the elders, her skin glimmered faintly and her eyes were wide with shock. She took a step back, clutching her mother's arm. "Mother, it's him, she whispered. Lucas froze. Everyone turned to look at him and he could see fear and disbelief in their eyes. He did not understand. He had never met this girl before. Elder Naira's face paled. She whispered something to the girl's mother. The mother's hands trembled. She looked at Lucas as if she had just seen a ghost. The room became very quiet. The air felt heavy, charged with a strange energy. Lucas did not move. He tried to speak. I think you have me confused with someone else," he said carefully. The girl shook her head violently. "No, you are him," she insisted. The elders murmured to each other, clearly disturbed by this reaction. A man stepped forward. He was an alien scholar carrying a small tablet of glowing symbols. "Child reactions are not always meaningful," he said calmly. "But this is unusual. She is not the first to respond this way. Others in her age group have also reacted to images in our records, but never to a living human." Lucas blinked. He had no idea what they meant. "Records?" he asked. I don't understand." Elder Naira sighed. "There is much you do not know about us," she said, "and perhaps much you do not know about yourself." The girl's mother pulled her closer. "Lyra, it is okay," she said softly. "He is not here to hurt you." Lucas smiled gently. He wanted to show kindness. "I promise," he said. "I am not here to hurt anyone." Lyra looked at him with wide eyes, still trembling. "But he looks like the one in the old stories," she whispered. Lucas frowned. "Stories?" he repeated. The elders looked at each other, unsure how much to reveal. Elder Naira finally spoke. "We have legends that speak of an outsider," she said slowly. "A being from a fragile world who would appear unafraid and endure trials that would break others. It has been centuries since the last time anyone claimed to see such a person. You resemble what our records describe." Lucas felt a shiver run down his spine. Centuries. He had never known humans to travel beyond the stars that long ago. He tried to hide his confusion. "I think there must be some mistake," he said. "I am just a human like any other." The room was silent for a moment. Then Lyra spoke again, her voice trembling. He is exactly like him," she said, pointing at Lucas. Elder Naira's eyes widened. She turned to the other elders. "Bring the images," she ordered. A glowing panel lit up with images of humans from long ago. figures that looked strangely similar to Luca's. He stared at the panels, feeling an uncanny connection. Some of the images looked older than any human records he had ever seen. "These records predate our space travel," Elder Naira explained. "The figure appears in sacred texts in our early chronicles. It was believed the prophecy was only symbolic, but your presence proves something we did not understand." Lucas shook his head, trying to process it. He had come here as a simple envoy. Now he was part of something much larger, something that felt impossible. Lyra stepped closer to the panel. Her small hand reached out, but she did not touch it. He is supposed to be like this," she said softly. "We were told one day he would come." Lucas took a deep breath. He had never believed in prophecies, never thought of himself as anyone special. Yet here he was, standing in a room full of beings who treated him like a key to some ancient mystery. Elder Naira studied him. "Your endurance, your calm, it is unlike others," she said quietly. "The humans we observed are strong, but you are extraordinary in ways we did not predict." Lucas frowned. "Extraordinary? I am tired and I am far from home," he said. "I do not feel extraordinary." Lyra's mother spoke softly, almost to herself. "Perhaps he is extraordinary because he does not know it." Lucas looked at her, then at the girl. He realized that no one had ever treated him with this mix of fear and reverence. It made him uneasy. "I did not come here for fame," he said. "I came to talk, to understand, that is all." The elders murmured among themselves. They seemed unsure how to respond. Lyra clutched her mother's arm tighter, glancing at Lucas. "Please," she whispered, "do not leave." Lucas nodded slowly. "I will stay," he said. "I will stay and listen." For the rest of the day, Lucas walked through the sanctuary. Aliens watched him closely, curious and cautious. Lyra followed him at a distance, her eyes never leaving him. He noticed how different everything was. The floors seemed alive, moving slightly as he stepped. The walls shifted color in response to sound. Strange plants emitted soft lights that pulsed like breathing. Everywhere he looked, he felt both wonder and unease. He met scientists and scholars who asked endless questions about human biology, human emotions, and human history. Lucas answered as best he could. He learned about their ways too. They lived with harmony and discipline, but there was tension. The elders whispered about the prophecy and about the figure who would appear from a distant world. Lucas could feel the weight of their expectations, though he wanted none of it. As night fell, Lucas returned to a small room assigned to him. The window opened to the alien sky, filled with shifting lights and distant stars. He thought about the girl, Lyra, who had gasped at his arrival. He wondered why she reacted that way, why the prophecy spoke of someone like him. He did not know yet, but he felt that this meeting was only the beginning of something much larger. Outside, the sanctuary hummed quietly, as if aware of the new presence among them. Lucas felt the pull of history, of forces he could not yet understand. He did not sleep well that night, hearing faint whispers from the walls and catching glimpses of moving shadows. Lyra's words echoed in his mind. "It's him, it's him." He did not know why, but he knew this was a moment that would change everything. For him, for her, and for the galaxy. The next morning, Lucas Carter woke to a soft light filtering through the translucent walls of the alien sanctuary. The hum of the building was still present, calm but deep, as if it was thinking. He rubbed his eyes and stepped to the window. The alien city outside seemed alive. Towers rose and shimmered, streets shifted color, and strange creatures floated quietly above the ground. Lucas felt small, but he knew he could not show fear. Whatever was coming, he had to face it. A messenger arrived quickly. She was tall and thin, with pale skin that glimmered in the morning light. "Lucas Carter," she said softly, "Elder Naira requests your presence in the council chamber." Lucas nodded and followed. His boots made soft sounds on the smooth floor. Lyra appeared at the end of the corridor, peeking from behind her mother. Lucas gave her a small nod, trying to reassure her. She smiled faintly before disappearing again. The council chamber was enormous. Walls curved high into the sky, covered in flowing lights. Alien leaders from different clans were gathered. They whispered among themselves as Lucas entered. Elder Nyra stood at the center, her presence commanding silence. She gestured for Lucas to sit, and he obeyed. "Human," she said, "we must speak of the prophecy." Lucas tried to keep calm. "I do not understand this prophecy," he said. "I am just a human. I have never been part of your legends." Elder Nyra's eyes were steady. "The prophecy is old, older than any records we have of the stars. It speaks of an outsider from a distant world. This outsider will appear unafraid, enduring trials no other being can survive. It will not be through magic, but through strength and adaptation. Centuries ago, we thought it symbolic. Now we are not so sure." The other council members nodded. A few murmured to each other. Lucas felt the weight of their eyes. He had been trained for diplomacy, for calm in dangerous situations, but this was different. Here, he was not just a human. He was part of something far bigger than himself, something ancient. Lyra was brought in carefully by her mother. She walked slowly, still uncertain, but her eyes never left Lucas. She whispered softly to him, "You really are him." Lucas knelt slightly to meet her gaze. "Lyra, I do not know what that means," he said gently. "But I am here to help if I can." She nodded slowly. "You do not know, but I feel it. The others, they feel it too." One of the scholars stepped forward, a man named Corin. He carried a glowing tablet filled with symbols and images. "The records are clear," he said. "Our ancestors wrote of the figure who would come. It is said he would pass tests that reveal the strength of the species itself." The child reacts because she senses survival traits at a genetic level. Humans, apparently, are exceptional in ways we underestimated. Lucas frowned. He had survived many hard missions on Earth, but he had never thought of it as exceptional. It was just life, just survival. Elder Nyra gestured for Lucas to follow. They walked down a long corridor lined with glowing images. Some were of alien warriors, others of strange landscapes, and then, finally, images of humans. Long before space travel, long before humans were known beyond their own planet. Lucas looked closely. In some images, a figure stood out. It resembled him, the same build, the same posture, even the same look in the eyes. He felt a chill. "These figures," Elder Nyra said, "appear in sacred texts and early chronicles. Some believed them symbolic, but your presence proves there was more to them than symbol. You are the proof of what humans were always capable of, even beyond your own understanding." Lucas shook his head slowly. "I do not feel proof of anything," he said. "I am just here. I have no idea why all this matters to you." Lyra tugged gently at his sleeve. "It matters because you are not like the others," she whispered. "You survive when others fall. You do not fear when others tremble. Your strength, it calls to us." Lucas knelt again. "I am not trying to be strong," he said. "I am just doing what I must. That is all." The council began to explain the trials. They wanted to test Lucas, not to hurt him, but to see if humans could truly endure. Gravity chambers that crushed weaker species, mental puzzles that overwhelmed alien minds, and alien technology that exposed fear instantly. Lucas listened carefully, trying to stay calm. He did not want to show that he was uneasy, though his mind raced. Lyra watched him closely. She whispered explanations to him, telling him how the aliens read emotions, how they could sense fear and courage. "You must stay calm," she said. "That is why you passed the first tests just by being here." Lucas nodded. He realized that sometimes survival was not just about skill or strength. Sometimes it was about calm and focus, about refusing to let fear control you. The first trial came quickly. Lucas entered a room that seemed normal, but the walls began to move. The floor shifted, tilting in strange angles. Strange lights flashed, attempting to disorient him. Most species would have panicked immediately. Lucas kept his eyes steady. He focused on his steps, placing one foot in front of the other. The floor twisted, but he adapted. When he reached the center, the walls returned to normal. The aliens observing him gasped. Lyra clapped softly, amazed. Next was a chamber of memory illusions. Alien tech projected images designed to confuse and frighten him. Lucas saw shadows of his worst fears, his failures, and even the faces of people he had lost. Most would have screamed, would have run. Lucas closed his eyes for a moment, breathing deeply. He remembered Lyra's words, "Stay calm." He focused on reality, on the simple fact that he was still standing. When the images vanished, he was unshaken. The elders whispered among themselves, clearly unsettled by his resilience. Finally, Lucas faced the gravity trial. The room simulated conditions stronger than anything humans had encountered. Bones ached, muscles strained, and breath became difficult. Even trained alien warriors would have collapsed. Lucas moved slowly but steadily. He remembered his training on Earth in harsh environments. He adapted, using every ounce of control he had over his body. When he reached the exit, he was exhausted, but he had passed. The council looked on in stunned silence. Elder Nyra spoke at last. "Your endurance, your calm, your refusal to break. This is why the child reacted as she did," she said. "We thought humans were fragile. We thought your species would fall to trials meant to challenge even the strongest of us. Yet you survive. You are a living proof that our understanding was incomplete." Lucas shook his head. "I did not survive to prove anything," he said quietly. "I just did what I had to." Lyra approached him, smiling faintly. "Humans are built different," she said. "You survive because you do not fear life as others do. You endure because it is natural to you, not because you are chosen. Yet others will see you as special, and that will change everything." Lucas looked at her and nodded. "Then I will face it," he said. "Whatever comes next, I will face it." The council continued to discuss the prophecy in hushed tones, debating whether humans were a threat or a hope. Lucas stayed calm, realizing that they did not yet understand him or his species. He wondered if they ever would. Outside, the alien city shimmered under a strange sun, and Lucas felt the pull of something ancient. He was no longer just an envoy. He had become part of a story that stretched centuries into the past. Lyra's hand brushed against his sleeve again. "You are the one they spoke of," she whispered. "I know it. The others will learn slowly. You will have to show them who humans really are." Lucas looked at her, a mix of worry and determination in his eyes. He did not know the full truth of the prophecy yet, but he knew one thing. Whatever waited, he would face it without fear, just as he always had. The sun began to set over the sanctuary, casting long shadows across the towers. Lucas gazed out, thinking of the trials to come, of the prophecy, and of the strange, small girl who had first recognized him. He realized that this was only the beginning, and the journey ahead would test more than his strength. It would test his understanding of humans, aliens, and the very meaning of survival. The morning after the trials, Lucas Carter woke early. The alien sanctuary was quiet, the hum of the walls soft and steady. He walked to the window and looked out. The towers glimmered under the alien sun, strange and beautiful. He felt a weight on his shoulders. He had passed the trials, but that only seemed to make the council more curious and more cautious. He did not like being watched, but he understood. He was not just a human here. He was something they could not fully understand. Lyra appeared at the corridor again. She moved lightly, almost floating. Her eyes found him immediately. She smiled faintly. "Good morning," she whispered. Lucas nodded. "Good morning, Lyra," he said. "Are you ready to show me more of your world?" She nodded quickly. She tugged his sleeve gently, guiding him down twisting corridors filled with soft lights and strange colors. "The council is still talking about you," she said softly. "They cannot understand how you are still calm. They are afraid, I think." Lucas frowned. "Afraid of what?" he asked. "I only survived. I did what anyone would do to stay alive." Lyra shook her head. "You are different. Humans are not supposed to endure as you do. You do not break, you do not panic. The others notice, even if they do not say it. Lucas thought about that. Perhaps she was right. Humans were strong, yes, but maybe they were stronger than anyone realized. Maybe that was why the elders reacted so strongly. They entered a room filled with alien scientists. One of them, Dr. Megan Ross, greeted him. She was studying data from the trials. "Lucas Carter," she said, her voice calm, "we observed your endurance in ways we have never seen before. Your body adapts quickly. Your mind remains clear even under extreme stress." "It is remarkable," Lucas smiled faintly. "I was trained for tough situations," he said. "That is all." Dr. Ross shook her head. "It is more than training. Humans are unique. Your species survives in ways we cannot fully explain, and you are proof of that." Another scientist, Commander Ben Harper, joined them. "We tested every method known to our people," he said. "All our equipment, all our calculations failed to overcome you. It is unsettling. We did not expect this." Lucas felt a strange pride, but he did not show it. He knew pride could make humans careless. He stayed quiet and observed the alien scientists as they whispered among themselves, clearly disturbed by his resilience. Lyra tugged at his sleeve again. "They are afraid," she whispered, "but they also respect you. It is confusing for them. You are not just a human. You are beyond what they thought possible." Lucas looked at her. "I do not want respect for that," he said softly. "I only want to survive and do what is right." She nodded. "That is why they are watching. They cannot believe anyone could survive and still be calm." The day continued with more tests, but they were different now. The council wanted to see more than just physical strength. They wanted to see intelligence, strategy, and leadership. Lucas faced puzzles that would confuse even trained alien minds. They presented complex problems, impossible calculations, and alien logic. Lucas studied each carefully. He did not rush. He thought step by step, breaking problems into pieces. Slowly, methodically, he solved them. The aliens watching gasped at his clarity. Lyra clapped quietly, amazed. After the puzzles, Lucas was taken to a chamber that simulated combat. Holographic enemies appeared, fast and strong. The aliens expected him to fail, to show weakness. Lucas moved calmly, observing patterns, anticipating moves, and responding with precision. Each action was measured, each decision deliberate. When the simulation ended, he was unscathed. The council whispered urgently. No one had moved so calmly, so effectively. Lyra ran to him, her eyes wide. "You do not fight like others," she said. "You think first, then act. It is extraordinary." Elder Nyra entered the chamber. Her eyes studied Lucas carefully. "Human," she said, "your performance is beyond anything we predicted. Your species, it seems, is capable of much more than we understood. You endure, you adapt, and you remain calm under pressure. The prophecy may not be prophecy, it may be fact." Lucas shook his head. "I am not a prophecy. I am just a human. Nothing more." Nyra studied him for a long moment. "Perhaps that is what makes you remarkable. You do not know your own power, and that is why you endure." Later, Lucas walked with Lyra through the gardens of the sanctuary. Glowing plants lit their path and small creatures floated in the air. Lyra looked at him with curiosity. "Why do humans survive like you do?" she asked. "How can you remain calm when everything is against you?" Lucas thought for a moment. "We learn to survive because we must," he said. "Life is not easy. Humans adapt because we have no choice. We face fear, pain, and loss all the time. We get used to it and we learn not to let it control us." Lyra listened carefully. "Humans are stronger than we thought," she whispered. "I can see why the prophecy spoke of one like you. You are not ordinary, you are proof." Lucas smiled faintly. "Proof of what?" he asked. She hesitated. "Proof that your kind can endure, survive, and rise, even when everything is against you." That is what they feared and admired. The council met again that evening. They debated what Lucas's presence meant. Some argued humans were dangerous, too strong and too adaptable. Others saw humans as hope, a species capable of surviving where others could not. Lucas sat quietly listening. He did not want power. He did not want control. He only wanted understanding and peace. Yet his calm presence made the aliens uneasy. It was not just strength they feared, it was the human ability to endure without fear. Lyra stayed close to him during the meeting. She whispered, "They are learning. Slowly they understand humans are different. You are showing them who we are." Lucas nodded. He realized she was right. The aliens would not see humans as fragile any longer. They would know that humans could survive challenges that broke others, that humans could endure pain, fear, and impossible trials, and remain unshaken. After the meeting, Lucas and Lyra returned to a quiet chamber. She looked at him with wide eyes. "You are calm even when everything is strange," she said softly. "That is why I recognized you. That is why I called you him." Lucas looked at her, trying to understand. "I do not feel like him," he said quietly. "I feel like a man trying to do what is right, trying to survive. That is all." Lyra nodded slowly. "Maybe that is why humans are special," she said. "You do not need to know you are extraordinary. You just are." Lucas smiled faintly. He realized that she was right in a way. Humans did not always need to know their strength. It was in them, in their ability to endure, to adapt, to survive, even when everything was impossible. That night, Lucas stood at the window again. The alien sun had set and the sky was filled with colors he could not name. Towers glimmered, lights shifted, and the sanctuary hummed quietly. He thought of the trials, the council, and the prophecy. He thought of Lyra and her small, confident words. He realized that the aliens were learning about humans slowly, and he was part of that teaching. It was not just about survival. It was about showing others the human way, endurance, calm, and courage, even in the face of the unknown. As he lay down to rest, he knew the trials were only beginning. The council would continue to test him. The aliens would continue to watch and learn. Lyra would remain close, guiding and observing. And he, Lucas Carter, would remain calm. He would endure. He would face whatever came next, because that was what humans did. And slowly, the galaxy would learn that humans were not ordinary, and that was something even the most powerful aliens could not ignore. Lucas Carter woke to a strange silence in the sanctuary. The usual hum of the walls was faint, almost as if the building itself was holding its breath. He stretched and walked to the window, looking out over the alien city. The towers shimmered under the soft morning light. Lyra appeared at the corridor as always, her eyes wide and curious. "Good morning," she whispered. "Today, they want to show you something important." Lucas nodded. He did not know what to expect, but he followed her, as he had for the past days. They entered the council chamber. Elder Naira and the other leaders were waiting. The atmosphere was tense but respectful. Lucas could sense that something significant was about to happen. Elder Naira gestured for him to sit, then spoke. "Human, you have endured our trials and shown strength beyond what we expected. Now, we must reveal the truth behind the prophecy." Lucas leaned forward, listening carefully. "Long ago," Elder Naira began, "our ancestors seeded many worlds. We did this to preserve life, to ensure that our knowledge and essence would survive if our homeworld failed. Humans were one of those seeds, but unlike other species, humans developed without guidance. They adapted naturally, learning to survive through struggle and endurance. You, Lucas, represent proof of this." Lucas frowned. "Proof of what?" he asked. "I do not understand. Humans grow, survive, yes, but we are not prophecy material. We just live." Elder Naira's eyes softened. The prophecy was not mystical. It was scientific. Our ancestors observed your evolution long ago, and they recorded the signs of one who would endure trials meant to test the species. The child, Lyra, recognized you because she senses survival traits at a genetic level. You are the first human she has encountered that matches the records exactly." Lucas took a deep breath. "So, I am, what, a test, a proof, he asked. He did not like the sound of that. It made him feel small, like a subject rather than a person. Lyra stepped closer. You are more than that, she said softly. You are human. That is enough. But you also show what humans can do. That is why they watched you, why they reacted the way they did. You survive and they cannot ignore it. Lucas looked at her, a mixture of surprise and understanding in his eyes. So this is why the council has been so careful with me, he asked. Lyra nodded. Elder Nyra spoke again. Humans are capable of adaptation beyond our understanding. You have endured mental, physical, and environmental trials that would break even our strongest. This is why the child's reaction was so strong. She sensed the potential within you. Your calm, your endurance, it is not ordinary. It is what we have long anticipated but never expected to see realized. Lucas frowned. I do not feel extraordinary, he said quietly. I only survive because I must. The council exchanged glances. One of the scholars, Corin, stepped forward. We have studied humans extensively, but your species surpasses our predictions, he said. Most humans show resilience, yes, but you show focus, calm, and endurance in ways we did not anticipate. The prophecy, it was not a story. It was observation, and now you are the proof. Lucas shook his head. I do not want to be proof, he said. I want to understand, not impress. Elder Nyra gestured toward a glowing panel in the chamber. Images appeared showing ancient humans on Earth, their struggles, their battles for survival. Look closely, she said. Your species has always endured. Wars, disease, famine, environmental collapse. Humans adapt, survive, and rise. You are the culmination of this history without even knowing it. That is why the child recognized you. She sensed the culmination. Lucas stared at the images. He saw humans living through pain, fear, and loss. He understood. Survival was in their nature. Lyra spoke softly. Humans do not always know their strength, she said. They survive because they must, not because they think they are strong. That is why you endured, why you passed every test. You did not know to fear, so you did not break. Lucas nodded slowly. So it is not about me being special, he said. It is about humans being humans. Lyra smiled faintly. Yes, but seeing it realized in one person, that changes how others see your kind. The council debated quietly. Some argued humans were a threat. If one human could endure so much, what would happen if others followed? Some feared humans could dominate, outlast, and surpass all other species. Others argued humans were hope, proof that life could survive where others failed. Lucas listened, staying calm. He did not want to be a symbol of fear or hope. He wanted understanding. He wanted peace. Elder Nyra turned to him. We must decide how to proceed, she said. Humans have never been part of our direct observation, yet you show what we did not expect. We must choose carefully. Lucas looked at her. I am not here to challenge your people, he said. I only wish to learn, to share understanding, that is all. Nyra studied him for a long moment. Your words reflect your kind, she said. Humans act with purpose, not arrogance. They endure without seeking power. That is rare. Lyra tugged at his sleeve. The council fears humans because you do not fear, she whispered. They are used to others bending under pressure, breaking, showing weakness. You do not. That terrifies them, but it also shows them hope. Lucas nodded slowly. He understood. Humans were dangerous only because they survived. They did not need to dominate. Their endurance made them formidable. The next trial was different. It was not physical, not mental. It was about leadership and choice. The council presented a scenario where multiple species would face disaster. Resources were limited, decisions had to be made quickly, and alliances were fragile. Lucas was to act as a human representative, making choices that could save or endanger thousands. He studied the situation carefully. He did not rush. He listened to the reports, observed the dynamics, and weighed consequences. The aliens expected confusion, mistakes, fear. Instead, Lucas acted calmly and decisively. He coordinated efforts, reassigned resources efficiently, and prevented conflict. The results were better than the council expected. They whispered among themselves, realizing that humans were capable of strategic thinking under pressure, not just survival. Lyra watched him with awe. Humans are not just strong, she whispered. They think, they adapt, they endure all at the same time. That is why the prophecy spoke of one like you. Lucas shook his head. I only did what seemed right, he said. Any human could do this if they had to. It is not special. Elder Naira approached him. Perhaps not special to you, but extraordinary to others, she said. Humans endure because they must. You have proven that endurance is your nature. You are living proof that life, in its most adaptive form, can survive even the impossible. Lucas nodded. He understood now. It was not about him as an individual. It was about humans as a species, about the strength that came from struggle, adaptation, and perseverance. That evening, Lucas and Lyra walked through the gardens of the sanctuary. Glowing plants lit the path, and soft creatures floated in the air. Lyra looked at him thoughtfully. You do not know your strength, she said. That is why humans endure. You do not fear, you do not hesitate, and you do not break. That is the power the prophecy spoke of. Lucas smiled faintly. Then humans are more powerful than I realized, he said softly. I only see what we must do to survive. Lyra nodded. And that is why you are proof, she said. Not because you seek to dominate, but because you endure naturally. The council sees it now. They cannot ignore it. Lucas looked at her. He felt a sense of calm. The trials had revealed the truth. Humans were not fragile. Humans could survive, adapt, and thrive in ways even the most advanced species did not anticipate. As night fell, Lucas stood by the window looking at the alien city. The towers glimmered, the lights shifted, and the sanctuary hummed quietly. He thought of the trials, the prophecy, and Lyra's small, confident words. He realized that the aliens were beginning to understand humans slowly, and he had become part of that understanding. Humans were not just survivors. They were proof that life could endure, no matter the challenge. And he knew, deep down, that the galaxy was only beginning to learn the full strength of humanity. Lucas Carter woke to the gentle hum of the sanctuary. The alien towers outside glimmered in the soft morning light. He felt calm as always, but today he knew the council expected him to act not just as a survivor of trials, but as a representative of humanity. Lyra appeared at the corridor, her small hand brushing his sleeve. They are waiting for you, she whispered. Lucas nodded. He followed her, feeling the weight of expectation but staying steady. They entered the council chamber together. Elder Naira and the other leaders were seated, their expressions serious. Lucas noticed that the fear he had seen before was mixed now with respect. The council had observed humans in trials, and they knew the truth. Humans endured when others fell, adapted when others failed, and remained calm when others panicked. Lucas stood tall, ready to speak. I am here, he said, not to threaten, not to dominate, and not to prove humans are better. I am here to offer understanding, to offer partnership. Humans survive, yes, but we do not conquer without reason. We endure, yes, but we also help. That is what humans do. The council listened carefully. Some whispered among themselves, clearly considering his words. Lyra stood beside him, her small hand in his sleeve, giving him quiet support. Elder Naira leaned forward. Human, she said, your endurance and calm are extraordinary, but your words, they are equally remarkable. You offer not domination but partnership. You show restraint and understanding. That is not common in those with power. Lucas nodded. Power is meaningless if it is not guided by purpose. Humans do not seek control for its own sake. We act because it is necessary, and we endure because it is required. We can teach this, and we can share it. The council debated quietly. Some feared humans could use their endurance to dominate other species. Others saw humans as hope. a species that could survive disaster, maintain balance, and offer guidance. Lucas waited calmly, knowing the decision was not his to make, but his words had weight. Lyra whispered, "You are showing them who we are. Slowly, they understand humans are different." To prove his point, Lucas suggested joint exercises. He invited alien leaders to witness humans in practice scenarios of survival, problem-solving, and coordination. He did not show strength for pride, but to demonstrate human adaptability and cooperation. The council agreed, curious and cautious. Lyra smiled. "They will see what humans can do, not just for survival but for unity," she said. The exercises began. Humans and aliens worked together under extreme conditions. Harsh gravity, complex puzzles, and coordinated survival scenarios tested them. Humans did not dominate, but they adapted, solved problems efficiently, and offered guidance without arrogance. The aliens were impressed. Their whispers turned to admiration. They saw humans not as fragile, not as unpredictable, but as reliable, capable, and wise under pressure. Lyra watched closely. "You are showing them the truth," she said softly. "Humans endure, yes, but they also guide. They survive, yes, but they teach. That is what the prophecy meant. They are proof, not rulers, but survivors who rise to meet the challenge." Lucas nodded. He realized that was exactly what he had been doing. He was not trying to impress. He was simply being human. And that was enough. As the exercises ended, Elder Nyra called for a meeting. "Humans," she said, "your endurance, calm, and guidance have convinced us. You are not just survivors. You are teachers of survival, proof of life's capacity to endure and adapt. We accept your offer of partnership. We will observe, learn, and share with you knowledge we have preserved for centuries." Lucas felt a quiet relief. This was not conquest. This was understanding. This was the recognition of humanity's strength in a way that could build rather than destroy. Lyra took his hand gently. "You did it," she whispered. "You showed them humans are strong but not cruel. Humans endure, but they also protect." That is what the prophecy meant. Lucas smiled faintly. He realized she was right. Humans were not chosen by fate. Humans were not mystical. They were defined by endurance, calm, and courage. And now the galaxy would begin to understand that. The aliens began to share knowledge freely. Humans learned about advanced technology, navigation of distant galaxies, and survival strategies unknown to them before. In return, Lucas and his team shared human approaches: cooperation, adaptation, and endurance. The partnership grew slowly, built on respect and understanding rather than fear. Humans did not dominate. They survived, adapted, and guided. Lyra's mother approached Lucas. "Your presence has changed us," she said softly. "We see now that humans are capable of more than we imagined. Not just physically, but morally, intellectually, and emotionally. You have opened a new path." Lucas nodded. "I did not do it alone," he said. "Humans endure because they must. It is our nature. I only showed what we are." News of the partnership spread across the sanctuary. Alien species from distant regions sent observers, curious to witness humans in practice. They saw calm in chaos, focus in danger, and cooperation without selfishness. Humans were not conquerors, not invaders. They were proof that survival, endurance, and understanding could coexist. Whispers of fear turned into murmurs of respect, and respect into admiration. Lyra stood beside Lucas one evening, looking at the stars. "They are learning," she said. "The galaxy will see humans as we always have, strong, adaptable, and calm under pressure. Humans survive, yes, but they also protect. That is what terrifies and amazes them." Lucas nodded. He realized she was right. Humanity's endurance was its power. Not weapons, not force, but the simple ability to endure, adapt, and remain calm. Elder Nyra called a final council. "Humans," she said, "you have changed how we see life. Your species is proof that endurance and calm are forms of strength. You do not need to dominate. You do not need to conquer. You survive, and in that survival you teach us balance, courage, and wisdom. Lucas bowed slightly. He felt a deep calm. This was not about glory. This was about understanding, partnership, and shared survival. Lyra smiled up at him. You showed them humans are not fragile, she said. You showed them what it means to endure, to survive, and to protect. That is what the prophecy meant. Not power, but proof. Lucas nodded, feeling a quiet satisfaction. Humans did not need to dominate to be strong. Endurance, courage, and calm were enough. And now the galaxy would know it too. As night fell over the sanctuary, Lucas stood by the window. The towers shimmered, the lights pulsed softly, and the alien city hummed quietly. He thought of the trials, the prophecy, and the small girl who first recognized him. He realized that humans were not chosen by fate. Humans were defined by endurance, by calm, and by courage. And that truth would change the galaxy forever. Lyra squeezed his hand. Humans endure, she whispered, and now everyone will see it. Lucas looked at the stars, knowing she was right. Humans had survived countless challenges on their own world. Now in the galaxy, their endurance, calm, and courage would be recognized, respected, and feared in the right way. It was not conquest. It was proof of humanity's true strength. The Council approved joint missions, sharing knowledge and working together. Humans adapted quickly, guiding, learning, and surviving with their alien partners. For the first time, the galaxy realized that humanity was not fragile. Humanity was strong, calm, and enduring in ways no other species could match. Lucas Carter had not only survived, he had shown what humans could truly be. As he watched the twin suns set over the sanctuary, Lucas felt a sense of peace. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. They did not need power to prove their strength. Endurance, calm, and courage were enough, and that was humanity's true gift. The alien girl, Lyra, looked at him one last time that evening. "Father," she whispered softly, not in the sense of parenthood but in recognition of guidance and protection, "thank you for being him." Lucas smiled faintly, understanding. He had not sought recognition or glory. He had simply endured. And in that endurance, humans had become the proof of life's true strength. And the galaxy began to realize that humans were not just survivors. They were the standard by which endurance, courage, and calm would be measured forever.